Here's a map released by Transparency International showing national corruption levels around the world. Yellow signifies the least corrupt nations and red signifies the most corrupt. Although there are many factors to take into consideration, just a quick glance at this map reveals that the least corrupt nations on earth tend to be those where Christianity has had the most influence. Indeed, here are the top 12 least corrupt nations on earth, along with the predominant religion as given by the Association of Religion Data Archives, or the ARDA. The least corrupt nation in the world is New Zealand, and the ARD reports that as being 70.6% Christian. Next is Denmark, that's 85% Christian. Third is Finland, 90.2% Christian. Next is Sweden, 64.8% Christian. Then Singapore, 39.2% Chinese Universalist. Next is Norway, 91.3% Christian. Netherlands, 64% Christian. Australia, 74.4% Christian. Switzerland, 82.6% Christian. Canada, 74.5% Christian. Luxembourg, 90.6% Christian. And then finally Hong Kong, which is 54.6% Chinese Universalist. 10 of the top 12 least corrupt nations on earth have a predominantly Christian heritage. Now, it's important to say that these percentages only represent nominal figures. What I mean is there's no chance that there are that many genuine Christians in those countries today. But what they simply reveal is that wherever Christianity has had the most influence, corruption levels have decreased. It's almost as if there's a power within Christianity that causes inherently corrupt human hearts to turn away from selfishness and towards kindness. There's some kind of power within Christianity that seems to encourage generosity, decency, and fairness. Incidentally, the two anomalies in that list, Hong Kong and Singapore, could be explained by the fact that they were both British colonies for a long time, and as such do also have a residual Christian influence. Singapore's second most popular religion, for example, is Christianity. Let's look at another study now, this time by the Social Progress Imperative. This organisation ranks countries with the highest standards of living by looking at medical care, sanitation, shelter, education, life expectancy, access to technology, personal freedom and opportunity. Using these criteria, here's the top 10 nations with the highest quality of life in the world, again cross-referenced with the predominant religion. Number 1 on the list is Finland, and the ARD reports the Finns as 90.2% Christian. Number 2 is Canada, that's 74.5% Christian. Next is Denmark, that's 85% Christian. Next is Australia, 74.4% Christian. Then Switzerland, 82.6% Christian. Next is Sweden, 64.8% Christian. Norway, 91.3% Christian. Next is Netherlands, 64% Christian. United Kingdom, 72.6% Christian. And then finally Iceland, 94.7% Christian. The only non-Christian country in the top 20 is Japan at number 14, and that's 56.3% Buddhist. So again, wherever Christianity has had the most influence, people enjoy a better quality of life. BAV Consulting and the Walton School of Pennsylvania did a similar study, and here are their findings. Again, completely dominated by Christianity. The Human Development Index gives a similar picture too. So the statistics are always clear. The places in the world that are the most wealthy, safe, healthy and happy are those nations where Christianity has had the most influence. And this is no coincidence. It's simply no coincidence that corruption has fallen and standards of living have risen wherever Christianity has been most widely practiced. It's no coincidence that wherever Christianity has been applied, nations have become more wealthy, safe, healthy, and happy. You can even take this down to a more micro level, and instead of looking at nations, let's just look at cities for a second. In April 2010, the BBC reported on the Street Pastors Initiative. This is a ministry where Christians go out onto city streets at nights to get alongside broken people as they spill out of bars drunk and high. The BBC report told that in Northamptonshire, England alone, the police recorded a 65.5% reduction in crime as a direct result of this Christian influence on the city streets. And if you look at any town where Street Pastors operates, you'll find roughly similar figures. In fact, look at any Christian initiative like this around the world and you'll find similar success stories. And we can even go smaller. We can even just start looking at individual stories. Here's a testimony from a friend of this ministry, Mr. Tommy Scott.
Well, about me, I'm the son of one of the first Crips in the United States, which is Los Angeles, California, one of the African-American gangs, formed in the late 60s, early 70s. And I ended up in Los Angeles, California, where I grew up in projects and in poverty. And as time went on, of course, I got involved with drugs, gangs, violence, and ended me all through the juvenile justice system, through all the county jails, through prison, and living my life of destruction. I've destroyed a lot of lives. I've damaged a lot of people's dreams and future, with a lot of hate and anger towards everyone, outside my community. But lo and behold, as I decided that I didn't want to live anymore, became a real alcoholic, doing various different types of drugs, ecstasy, marijuana, and committing crimes all across Los Angeles. I eventually moved to Las Vegas, where I continued in crime, and that landed me back in jail. And that's where the Lord met me and sat me down for the last time, my 15th incarceration. And he sent in some brothers who preached the gospel, and I responded to the message of the gospel, and I was set free. And God's been using me ever since to impact lives for eternity. And also I have a book coming out that's going to be going into the jails and prisons to set people free. So I thank you. I thank the Lord for my salvation, and I thank the Field Project for allowing us to share this testimony. God bless you guys.
Meeting with Jesus changes lives, and at this moment there are literally thousands upon thousands of people who would tell similar stories of how God transformed their lives for the better. A survey by the universities of the USA called the Social Capital Community Benchmark Survey was undertaken some time ago, and it discovered that if two people, one religious and one atheist, are identical in every other way, economically, socially and politically, the atheist is 23% less likely to give to charity and 26% less likely to volunteer their time to good causes. Again, there's something within Christianity that empowers people to overcome their own sinful nature and to live more selflessly. Indeed, just by growing up in a country with a Christian heritage, a person absorbs a heightened sense of decency from their environment. It's a subconscious influence. It's a bit like how we use biblical expressions in our speech without knowing where they came from. An atheist will talk about giving up the ghost, or call someone the salt of the earth, or talk about putting words into another person's mouth, or talk about being a law unto yourself, or say, a little bird told me a secret. All of those phrases come directly from the King James Bible, which is widely regarded to be the most influential book in the English language of all time, even more influential than the works of Shakespeare. Atheists will use these phrases without realizing that they come from a Christian source. And in the same way, they'll often adhere to Christian morality without realizing that it comes from a Christian source. And so, via this little detour, this is reason number 4 why people who reject God don't instantly fall into outrageous sin and become axe murderers. They have been subconsciously influenced by Christian pioneers fulfilling the Great Commission and filling society with Jesus' teaching. It's our Christian forefathers who revolutionized the way we look at the world and who have saturated society with an enlightened Christian moral code. This is why Fyodor Dostoevsky once said, "Even those who have renounced Christianity and attack it, in their inmost being still follow the Christian ideal."